Hello guys, I'm just hoping everything has gone correctly and you guys can see me. Let me just set it up, give me a second. Need to make sure the camera is correct. Yes, perfect. So hello everyone, I'm Meenaal Fatma and today I'm going to be telling you some smart ways of presenting an idea or a topic in your speaking test. Speaking test is considered to be relatively a bit more intimidating for most of the people out there. So there have been so many people asking me how to deal with this. So I have made quite a good setup of topics and ideas where if you start working, you're going to be making it through in a very nice way. Yeah, so this is beneficial for both exams, either you're giving academic or general training, right? So everyone can be a part of it today. So let's just wait for a minute more and see if there are more people joining in. Just to make sure everything is going correct. I can see somebody being live there. Can you let me know if the voice and the camera quality is okay? Yes. So yes, your speaking test, all your worries about your speaking test is going to be sorted with my tips and strategies. Yeah. So for all those who are listening for the first time, anyways, it's my second time on YouTube coming live. I want to tell you a little bit about the special class and advantages of special class and what are plus courses. Yeah, so basically special class gives you a first-hand experience of your plus courses for free. Plus courses are the courses where you need to subscribe. These are all the paid courses which are a lot more structured and organized and include all the topics together. Yeah, unlike that, special classes are relatively just an opportunity for you guys to get an understanding of how the plus courses are going to be. And apart from that, it's also a very interesting platform provided by Unacademy, which gives you a chance to understand your educators, to understand the teaching format, the content, the pronunciation, the teaching style. There's so many things that you want to assess your educators before you go ahead with them. So take this as an opportunity to test them. Yeah, like I was saying in my previous classes on Unacademy as well, I'm sitting here giving my exam for you guys. Yeah, for you guys to select me. So yes, so take special classes as quite an important criteria for selecting your educators, right? And special classes basically are the free classes that you get, and they are unlike since there are limited number of hours in the special class. So there is the topics that you're going to be finding is going to be in bits and pieces. Obviously, unlike that, plus courses will be quite a structured and organized course. Yeah. So take good advantage of your special classes and test your educators well. So I'll quickly introduce myself. Let me just see if my pen tab is working well today. Okay, yes it is. So a quick introduction about me. Hello guys, I'm Meenaal Fatma and professionally I work as an architect and an urban designer. I've done my bachelor's from Birla Institute of Technology, that's in Mesta, Ranchi, and from there on I moved to London where I did MArch from AA School of Architecture. I have lived, worked and studied in London for the past 2 years and got back recently in June. I have also worked in some cities in India, I was also in Dubai for a couple of months, not couple of months actually, 4-5 months, yeah. And then, as I mentioned, I was in London too. I have been helping a lot of my students, colleagues, friends, seniors, juniors in preparing for IELTS for the past 3 years now. It's been long. It's been 3 years now, but obviously on different platforms. On Unacademy, this is my second month, and I'm really excited to be able to make this come in front of you guys, because I personally feel like preparing IELTS is relatively at a pain, because if you go online, there are so many courses that you're going to be finding in bits and pieces, which does not give us satisfaction, because I have been there in your place and I know how annoying it is to run around different websites, try to extract things from here and there. And if you go to physical classroom, it's super expensive. So I have been wanting to do this for a long time. So all my courses are actually structured in terms of what you would actually need, and you would be fully satisfied that the place you're going to, you're covering everything at one place. Yeah. So I have myself given IELTS as well as IELTS UKVI and got an overall band score of 7.5 in both of them. In fact, if you check out my Unacademy profile and go to the special classes, which is if you go to the 1st October special class, which is called an overview class on IELTS, you're gonna find my scorecard. So in case you're interested to see how authentic my performance would be, you should definitely go up to the special class and give a look. Yeah, so that was quick introduction about me. So today we are covering the speaking module test, right, which is the last test, right, which is the last test of your 4 tests. Yeah, so they start with listening, then they go with reading, then they go to writing, and then you have speaking. Yeah, so the speaking module takes around 11 to 14 minutes to complete, right, and it includes an introduction section. Along with it, there are 3 parts to it. For your introduction section, basically they're going to just be introducing themselves, they're going to be asking your name, they're going to be doing an identity check, and it's going to roughly take 30 seconds. Yeah, after that your main test is going to start, where for your part 1 would be an interview round, where they would be asking you a very generic question from your day-to-day life, what you do, what you study, where do you work, those sort of questions, and it would roughly take around 3 to 4 minutes to complete. In your part 2, which is the long turn part, there you get a cue card with a topic, and they give you a minute to prepare on the topic, and then you're supposed to speak for it for around 2 minutes. And in your part 3, which is the discussion round, it's basically a follow-up round of your part 2, where there are questions on the basis of what you answered in your part 2, which roughly takes around 4 to 5 minutes. Yeah, so that was a quick segregation of the different parts of your exam. Yeah, so in terms of your marking and marking criteria for your speaking module, there are 4 main categories where you're going to be marked, right, and each of them, as you can see, hold 25% of the weightage. So you can quickly make out that each of them are very, very important for your exam. So let's just quickly run through them and see what they are. The first part is fluency and cohesion. Fluency, how fluent you are, how well you have structured your conversation, is what the first point covers. Fluency, also do not confuse it with how fast you speak. That's not the important part. How well you can speak without going like you know, all those kind of things, to how well you can just keep on talking about a particular topic without taking unnecessary pauses. At the same time, you have cohesion as well, where you know what you're talking, you know your logic, you know your structure. Yeah, so that is basically your fluency and cohesion. Second, another very, very important point is lexical resource and your vocabulary. right? It is often again misinterpreted, where people think about vocabulary as being another subject, right? So today we're going to actually be talking a lot about the lexical resource. So let the explanation be in store for the later part. Yeah. So this, and also this topic is one topic which people often tend to neglect while preparing. But guys, it's very, very important, and I'm launching a new course that is starting from 7th, which I'm going to be telling you elaborately on soon, which will cover everything that will help you build up your lexical resource. Yeah. Third point is your pronunciation. Again, people keep asking me if we are supposed to cover in American, if it's supposed to cover in British. Guys, that is none of this point is the point of trouble. Okay, I'll tell you why. Give me a second. Sorry about that. So pronunciation, you need to stick to whatever pronunciation, whatever accent you have. You do not need to throw unnecessarily anything out there. Yeah, that's not what they're looking for. Make sure you're sticking to your own pronunciation, to your own accents. Yeah, either if there are a few words which will be pronounced differently in Britain and differently in terms of American language, yeah, American pronunciation. So you can use any of them, since it's an international test. You can pick on any of them, but you need to just go correct over it. Yeah. Last, and the very important thing, which we as Indians, we tend to go wrong over, right? Because we think we know all of it, and we start using it in day-to-day life and do not realize we're going wrong in so many areas. So make sure you're brushing up your grammar too. Yeah, I have actually put up a course on my plus courses. So if you're interested, you can quickly go and check it out, because I have just confined them in a manner which will help you target for your exam purpose only. Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, we're going to be discussing the lexical resource today. So let's quickly see what lexical resource is. Yeah. So the word lexics refers to stock of words in a language, whereas resource is something I'm sure you guys are familiar with already. It refers to range and the variety. Yeah. So if we combine both of them, which is lexical resource, it would refer to range of vocabulary, right? So guys, the terms are so clear right in front of you. I don't know why people tend to go wrong over this. You do not have to waste your time learning and mugging up new words, difficult words, trying to throw it on the table. That's not what the examiner is looking for. They are looking for the range of vocabulary that you have. How well do you interpret one idea or one topic in 10 other ways? Instead of being repetitive over the same word, how well can you put up your diversity of your vocabulary, the range of your vocabulary. Yeah. So there are so many ways you can work over this, right? So I have put down few topics which will help you develop a range over the vocabulary. Yeah. So which are, you could either use idioms. Are you guys familiar with idioms? Anybody? Any idea about idioms? Okay. So idioms, collocations, phrases and clauses, figures of speech, paraphrasing or synonyms, and last but not the least, referencing and cohesive devices, right? There can be so many out there, but these are few which will help you quickly work on your lexical resource. Yeah. So I'm going to be quickly briefing you about each of these points one by one. Yeah, and also, as I was saying at the beginning, that I'm going to be taking you through about the new course that I'm launching. So basically, the new course that I'm launching is the extensive course on building lexical resource. Yeah, which I guess, guys, you should definitely enroll yourself, because this is one topic that remains untouched every single place, right? Even if you prepare online, this is something that you're going to be missing on. So the course is starting from 7th of November. Yeah, you can check the details of the course in my Unacademy profile, right? So it's going to be put up there. Go check the course out in my Unacademy profile. There's a small demo as well about the course. Obviously, I'm going to be elaborating a lot more today, right? So, but make sure you get yourself enrolled before 7th of November. It's a very important course, and I guess it's going to be very beneficial for all those who are preparing for us. Either you're preparing for a general training or your academic. It actually is very productive, not in just your speaking module, but at the same time in your writing module as well, right? And for example, there are some points, for example, paraphrasing, you need it in your reading module as well. So basically, all these points are very crucial in your all 4 modules, right? Even in your listening modules, you can hear so many of these categories, right? And unless you're aware of them, you can find them a little difficult, right? Because as I was saying, remember when I gave the UKVI exam of IELTS 2, I did hear a couple of native things coming up, you know, and thankfully I was a little familiar because I had given time to prepare myself with those native language. I could easily grasp. So I'm gonna make sure you guys get familiar with all the different types of lexical resource that are present out there. We are not gonna be working on building up any difficult thing. We're gonna stick to easy words, the words that you're gonna be commonly seeing in your exam, and we're going to make sure you have a range and diversity of vocabulary for those easy words. Yeah, so let's quickly start seeing one by one what they are. Yeah, okay, so let's start with idioms, phrases and collocations. Idioms are a group of words established by usage as having a meaning not deducible from those of the individual words. Yeah, so basically, what is idioms? Idioms are a group of words where they come from very different areas. They come from A, B and C, right? And when they come together, they create a complete different set of meaning, right? So learning to use common idioms and expressions will make your English sound a lot more native. As I was saying, remember in my second exam that I gave in the IELTS UKVI, there were so many words and phrases that I could grasp even in spite of being native, because I was well prepared of it, right? So it's always, it always shows a command of your language, how well you're able to know the native language. Yeah, so some of the idiom words give a very nice expression when you're using it in your language. Yeah, so but you need to make sure, there's this another common thing that I've actually mentioned because I thought people tend to go wrong over it. Idioms are quite different than slangs, right? Slangs are relatively used by lesser number of people, whereas idioms are a little more international or a little more global, you can say. Yeah, so slang and jargons are often used by a smaller group of people, whereas idioms are known by almost everyone. Yeah, so don't confuse yourself with idioms and slang. Slangs are for a really small group of people, for a small area, whereas idioms are a lot more known by most of the people. Clear? Okay. A proverb A proverb is a piece of conventional wisdom that is always phrased the same way and is intended to instruct or teach others. Again, there is always a common confusion between proverb, right? What is proverb? What is proverb? You know, like they always confuse with proverb and idioms. So I've put them all out here so you can get a good clarification. So basically, so as the statement says, it's a proverb is again a conventional wisdom that is phrased the same way. It is put together in the same way, but it generally gives a piece of instruction, a piece of teaching, right? And an idiom, unlike that, an idiom is a phrase where the meaning is distinct from the individual words, like literally like A and B could mean different, and when they come together to make C, C can be a complete different meaning. Yeah, its purpose is not at all instructional, right? Unlike the proverb, the idioms are not necessarily instructional. They do not provide any teaching of any sort. Yeah. And what are collocations? Collocation, they simply mean that word, they often want to stick together. They want to stick together. They want to hang out together. Yeah. So those are collocation words, right? We're going to be seeing more examples of these very soon. Yeah. Cool. I hope that these points are clear in front of you. Like for example, for my idioms, I've picked up two very common words, come and break. We often use these two words, right? Often. Just give it a quick read of all the 8 sentences. Give it a quick read without reading the word in the bracket, and I'll explain you what's going on. Just give it a quick read. Did you guys read it? The moment you're going to start reading, you're going to start realizing how different the same word is being used, how differently it's being used in different sentences. Yeah, how the complete meaning is changing just with the addition of either a preposition or an additional word before it or an additional word after it. Yeah. For example, if you start looking at the first 4 sentences from come, let's see one by one. The first sentence says, how did these things come about? What is come about referring here? Come about is referring to happen. When did these things happen? Similarly, in your next sentence, it says, when does the convocation come off, right? So when we say coming off, what do we imply? We imply taking place, right? When will the convocation take place? The third sentence says, I hope he will come around to our views. Coming around implies agree to our views. I hope he will agree to our views. The last sentence says, how did you come by his purse? Coming by refers to get. How did you get his purse, right? So the very fact that we can see that the same word come has been used with different words after it, right? So first sentence is being used with about, second is with of, third one is with round, and the fourth one is with by, right? And how the meaning is completely changing in each of them, right? Complete change, happen, taking place, agreeing, get, right? So that's how idioms can be manipulated with words. Yeah. Okay, the next example is of break. Now we're going to be seeing break, another very common word that we often use in a day-to-day life. Let's look at each sentence and try and see how differently they could be used. The first sentence says, burglars broke into his house. Broke into. This is something very, very common. We often use it, isn't it? Broke into refers to entered by force. So the burglars entered by force in their house. The next sentence, I gave him no cause to break with me. Often again, isn't it? Breaking up. Break with me. So break with me refers to fight. The third sentence says, he broke off in the middle of his story. Sorry about that. He broke off in the middle of his story. So broke off. The word broke off is implying to stopped suddenly. Yeah? He suddenly stopped in the middle of his story. The last one is he broke down in the middle of his story. Now broke down refers to got emotional. He started crying. He got really emotional right in the middle of explaining his own story. Yeah. So now we can easily see that broke into, break with me, broke off or broke down is completely changing the meaning with the addition of another word after break or broke, whichever tense it is. Yeah. So this is a very few examples of idioms in terms of word. If we start seeing in terms of phrases, I have put a few examples. There are obviously many other examples too. I have just put a few to make you a bit more familiar with how easy it is to show your command over your language. Just quickly give it a read and I'll be back in a minute. It's quite difficult to take this out. Give it a quick read. Did you guys read it? Few examples are, I have written a sentence after it as well. The first one says, at one's wit's end. Yeah, it refers to perplexed. At one's wit's end, it refers to perplexed, shocked, confused. For example, Sohan was at his wit's end to find that his younger brother had taken poison. He was shocked, he was perplexed, right? That his brother took poison. Yeah, so instead of using perplexed or confused or shocked again and again, we can use at one's wit's end. Yeah. Next one is, we use this often, isn't it? At one's fingertips, to have a complete knowledge, to be very strong with knowledge, and you can easily say that in your fingertips. Yeah, all the rules of synthesis are at his fingertips, right? Obviously there could be so many other examples too. Next one is, at the spur of the moment. At the spur of the moment, that refers to without delay. Yeah, at this the situation became in the spur of the moment. For example, in an interview, we must reply at the spur of the moment, right? Without delay. You should not take a pause. You should quickly answer whatever comes to your mind. Yeah. So at the spur of the moment, without delay. Next one is all in all. It refers to most important, right? As he was the only son in a big family, he was all in his home. Yeah. Next one is at close quarters. At close quarters refers to close examinations. So example is, many of my friends prove selfish at close quarters. Yeah, it's close examinations. Next one, again a very common one which you often use, by hook or by crook. No matter what happens, I want that person, isn't it? So sorry about the joke. It refers to by whatever means. Yeah, whatever mean it comes, he is determined to obtain first division in his class by hook or by crook. Yeah. Next one is bear the brunt of. Bear the brunt of refers to bear the main shock of. Yeah. This example could be, the poor have to bear the brunt of increasing prices. They have to bear the shock of, bear the pain of, bear the agony of, right? So instead of using again shock and pain and agony, you can use something fancier in a language, right? You can say bear the brunt of. Next one is a little funny for me though. Every time I read it, it's funny for me. Bell the cat. Bell the cat refers to take first step at personal risk. Taking the first step at your own risk. Example is, many people can boast of their bravery, but very few can bell the cat. Yeah? Okay. Next one is bid defiance. Bid defiance refers to ignoring the scenario situation. Example, Rohan bid defiance to his father's wish of becoming doctor and instead become an engineer, right? So that's again ignoring what his father was trying to say. Instead he became something else. Yeah, so bid defiance, to ignore. The next one is blowing one's trumpet. Blow one's trumpet is again I personally often use, right? It refers to praise oneself. For example, no one likes to talk to those who are always blowing their trumpet, right? For people who are always boasting about themselves, because I have so many friends who do this, so that's why I end up doing this. I hate talking to people who boast so much about themselves, right? I like people who are down to it and not those who always blow their trumpet, right? You don't need to worry about memorizing all of them. Just try and make sentences in your day-to-day life and you're going to be remembering them. Yeah. So there are a few examples. Obviously I'm going to be going a lot more elaborate in my Plus course. I'm going to be giving you time live when you're going to be making sentences. So your practice is going to be done right at the same time. Yeah. Okay. So collocations. Collocations, what are collocations? Collocation, as the word can be splitted into, co refers to coming together, right? And location is a place. So what does the total meaning refers to? Words that are located together. Yeah. So for example, you can see make tea. Make would have complete different meaning, tea would have different meaning, right? When they're coming together, it actually refers to something new. I made a cup of tea for lunch. They want to come together, they want to sit together, because you don't generally make tea, right? But you always use it in sentence when you're talking about doing that work. Yeah? Do homework. I did all my homework yesterday. Yeah? So the few examples of collocations. Collocations could be of different types, right? They could be a formation of verb and a noun. They could be a formation of word and adjective. They could be a formation of adjective and a noun. They could either be a formation of adverb and an adjective, or they could also be a formation of noun and a noun, right? I've given one example here. There could be so many out there, right? So you don't have to worry. We're going to be practicing about each of them a lot more in detail in my plus classes. Yeah. For example, chase the deal. Yeah. You have verb and your noun. Chasing the deal. Next one, respond patiently. Right. Respond is verb and your patiently is adverb. They're coming together and they form your beautiful collocation. Another one is passionate desire, right? Passionate is your adjective here and desire is your noun. Next one, exceptionally helpful. Exceptionally is your adverb and your helpful is adjective. Yeah? Noun plus noun refers to doses of medicine. Yeah? Doses of medicine, doses, again noun, medicine, again noun, right? We're going to be going a lot more detail in my plus class, so stay posted. Yeah? Okay. Paraphrasing and synonyms, again, it's required quite often when you're doing your either your writing module, right, or you're doing your reading module, or in fact when you're doing your speaking module. Very important. Yeah. So the word is extracted from which is a Greek word, which literally means an equivalent sentence, right? A sentence that literally means the same thing, right? So it's often used to repeat something written or spoken using different words, often in a little more simpler or shorter form that makes the original meaning a lot more clearer and a lot more elaborate, right? So if you have a complicated stuff put up on the screen, you can use simpler words, a shorter version, to make sure you're able to elaborate on the main meaning. Yeah, you're able to clarify the main meaning in a lot clearer and elaborate way, but you're at the same time sticking to what the original meaning is. Yeah. Okay. Next part, paraphrasing means formulating someone else's idea in your own words, right? You have to transform it into your own words. To paraphrase a source, you have to rewrite a sentence or a passage without changing the meaning of the original text. You can start using different forms. You can use synonyms, you can use them in different phrases, but you need to make sure that you're sticking to the meaning and you're not messing around with the meaning of the main sentence. Yeah? And paraphrasing is actually quite an alternative to quoting, right? Paraphrasing, in quoting, you generally copy what someone's exact words were and you put quotation marks around it, right? And unlike that, in your academic writing, you are not going to be quoting anything in any of your modules. You're going to be always using them in paraphrase form. Yeah? So how can you paraphrase? There's so many ways you can put it up, right? We're going to be going a lot more, again, elaborate on my plus course. I'm going to quickly tell you a few tips which you can start learning from. Make sure you're reading the passage many times before you fully understand the meaning. You should know what it is trying to say. Then only you will be able to put it in your own words. So make sure you're familiar with, maybe you're not getting familiar with each and every word, but you're getting familiar with what the overall meaning is trying to tell you, right? After you've done that, you need to start extracting your key points, your key words or your phrases that will help you transform it. Yeah, then you can write your own version in the text without copying the original. You're gonna make sure you're using as less number of words as you can from the question, right? Then you'll compare your paraphrase text with the original passage to make sure you have not copied everything, you are still sticking to the main meaning, and you, if required, you're able to make these minor adjustments quickly. Yeah, stick to these steps for paraphrasing, and how you can paraphrase is what we're going to be discussing in our Plus course. Yeah, I'm going to be telling you very smart strategies of how you can do that. Okay, so figures of speech is another point which we're going to be discussing in this course, right? So figures of speech is basically a departure from ordinary form of expression or any ordinary form of putting up an idea, and in fact trying to put a lot more effect and an impact to them. Yeah, there are obviously many different types of figures of speech, but here I have put few of them, right? And I'm going to be telling you which one you're going to be using and which one you're not supposed to use. So you're going to be listening very carefully here. Because I have put them up here as well, because to make sure that you're not using in your exam, because they are relatively informal and you're going to be sticking to using a formal tone in your exam. Even in fact, if you talk about informal topics in your exam, you're going to still make it sound formal. Yeah, so they could be categorized into simile, metaphor, personification, apostrophe, hyperbole. Yeah, so let's quickly go ahead and see what they are. So all of them, as we know, they are used to compare one thing with the other, right? But they're just used in different formats, right? So simile is again a very smart way to compare things, where you generally use words like as and like or so, right, to compare two different things. It is generally a comparison of two things of the same kind. Then it is not a simile. The comparison needs to be between two different things, yeah, two different kinds of things. Then it is a simile. For example, my heart is like a singing bird. My heart is really happy. It's singing like a happy bird. Next one is my heart is like an apple tree. My heart is really big. It's really loving. It is giving. Yeah, it has care and affection for so many people. My heart is a rainbow shell. My heart is still lively. My heart is still energetic. It wants to feel young and lively. Yeah, there could be so many more. Some common ones are as good as gold, as clear as crystals. There could be so many which you're going to be practicing more and more. So similes are thumbs up for your exam. You can definitely use similes to show command over your language, show your native touch. Next one is metaphor. Metaphor is again used to compare two unlike objects, right, which have some or the other common qualities, right? It does not, like simile, state that one thing is like the other or acts as another, but in fact takes for granted and proceeds if two things are one, right? So it's not a direct comparison that happens, but they use different objects, right? Two different unlike objects. For example, he fought like a lion. The moment you use like a lion, you are going to similes. Yeah, and he was a lion in the fight. He was really strong, right? Those kind of a thing fall into the category of metaphor. So it's again a very smart approach to put up your speaking or your writing or your reading. Yeah, so metaphor is again a thumbs up. It's a thumbs up for your exam. Yeah. Personification is again another category of comparing things, where an inanimate objects and an abstract notion are spoken of as having real life and real thought process and real intelligence, right? They're made to sound real and living in spite of not being one. For example, the skyscraper was so tall that it seemed to kiss the sky. Obviously, the skyscraper would not be kissing the sky, but you're suddenly implying that it's really, really tall, isn't it? The next one is, the ship danced over the undulating waves of the ocean, right? Obviously, the ship is not going to dance by doing any undulating moves, but obviously, since the waves of the ocean are quite wavy, and they are moving on it, they're taking the same move. Yeah. Next one, the full moon peeped through partial clouds, right? Obviously, the moon is not actually gonna peep, but they're trying to give an appearance, trying to find the way out of the clouds. The last one is, the shadow of the moon danced on the lake. Obviously, they're never gonna dance, but since the water is never static, it's always moving, the reflection tends to have a random motion as well. Yeah, so personification, right? Again, a big thumbs up to personification. It's a very, very smart way to put up your language in an interesting way. Hyperbole is another category which is used to exaggerate or extravagant statements to create a strong emotional response, right? It is not intended to be taken literally, and it is generally used for humor. Yeah, so obviously, like, it's suddenly, it's always used for humor, for things that are not taken seriously, that are relatively they can say funny. Yeah, so make sure you're not doing this. We do not want to sound informal. You can use it into a day-to-day lives, when you're talking to your friends, when you're talking to your colleagues, when you're talking to your relatives. You joke around, that's fine. It actually is really cool to use them, but don't use it for your exam. Make sure. I have purposely put this up to clarify that you're not going to be using them, because they are a little informal. For example, her brain is the size of a pea, right? So obviously it's just trying to imply that her brain is not actually in terms of the size, but she's really not that smart to understand what we're talking about. Yeah. Next one is, he's older than the hills, right? What is it implying? That obviously, like, the hills take ages and ages to actually become hills, right? So they are always really old. So we're trying to say that person is really old, right? Is really old. Next one is apostrophe, right? Apostrophe is basically all the times when you put up direct statements in apostrophes. Make sure you're not putting out any direct statements in your exam. It's again a no for your exam. Yeah, you're not going to be stating quotations, you're not going to be stating statements that somebody has told you. You can paraphrase them, use indirect speech, or convert them into different forms, but don't quote. It's again very informal, and we do not want to do it in an academic exam or your general training exam. Yeah. Referencing and cohesive devices, right? Again, referencing and cohesive devices, you can use them as a smart strategy to use less repetitive words in your exam. For referencing, you need to get familiar with your noun, pronoun. Yeah. Why? For example, I've put up an example here. Carbon emissions are a growing concern worldwide. They are proven to be a major contributor to global warming. Yeah. So instead of using carbon emission again in my second statement, I'm using they. So I'm avoiding the use of same words again and again in a sentence by using different simple forms. So I just need to get a little familiar with my nouns and my pronouns, right? So instead of my noun, I'm trying to replace it with my pronoun. Yeah? So that's again some smart ways, easy ways to get good marks in your lexical resource. Another one could be using cohesive devices. Cohesive devices are all the linking words. They could either be interjections, preposition, conjunctions. Yeah. So these words help you structure couple of multiple ideas in single sentence. They help you formulate complex sentences, which gives you good mark, right? Words like next, because, also, so, therefore, however, alternatively, for example, on the other hand, etc. Right? These words help you form your sentences in a lot more complex way. So they give you good marks. So thumbs up, right? Sorry about the bad drawing skills there, guys. Thumbs up to both of them. Yeah. So that was little bit about on whatever we're going to be covering in the new course that is starting from 7th November. So you can start seeing that on my profile. Yeah. So the course is going to be called extensive course on building lexical resource. So it's going to be very, very productive course, guys. So make sure you're quickly enrolling yourself there. Yeah. Other than that, I've successfully completed academic writing, of course, a reading module, and on the grammar as well. So you can check it out there too on my plus courses, as well as a new fresh course is starting right from tomorrow at 9:30 for all those preparing their general training exam and on the writing module. Yeah. So quickly enroll yourself for that too. So that's how your plus subscription page looks like, and you need to subscribe yourself to be able to get access to my videos, right? So you have a couple of options here: 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, right? Whichever one you prefer is depending on how much time you have, what's your level of your English standards. But make sure, guys, you prepare well before you give the exam, because it's already a very expensive exam, and you need to make sure that you are preparing well before you're actually going for the exam. So make sure you're doing that. Yeah. So and other than that, there's so many additional advantages as well, right? You get 30 plus live hours of lessons every day, which come in different languages. So whatever you're familiar with, you can get access to them, right? They are provided online, offline. So even if you're busy, you missed your class when it was going live, you can go there and listen to them later. Yeah. And at the same time, you have access to top educators, right? You're not just listening to me, but at the same time, you're listening to so many others out there too. Yeah. Hello. You're quite late. We're literally at the end of the class now. And there's so many new courses that are getting published each and every month, so you can get access to them as well. And make sure when you're subscribing, you're using my code, that's Fatma Meenaal, right? And you can avail a 10% discount on that. And if you're familiar with the Unacademy credit scores, if you're there on Unacademy from before, you'll have your credit scores as well, which will give you 10% off on them. And in case you have any queries later on as well, you can stay posted, stay connected on my different social media profiles, whose detail I've put it up right here, or in fact my Unacademy profile as well. Yeah. So go ahead and quickly subscribe before the classes starts, right? There's one starting on 5th and there's another starting on 7th. So make sure you're enrolling yourself much in advance. Yeah. So remember to use my code to get a 10% discount on that. For any further questions, you can definitely get back to me on any of my social media profiles. Yeah. So I'll end the class today. I hope you liked it, and I always love to get feedbacks and reviews. So I'll end the class now, and for any further questions, do drop down your messages. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye bye.